Through the windows of the soul comes an experience. Behind the eyes, within the soul, is an accumulation of Shakti, power, that each of us has stored to different degrees. Drishti is this spiritual vision that emanates from the soul, through the eyes, through the face, to another soul. It is what draws us to someone. How is it that some souls have a greater magnetic pull, an enchanting power of attraction? Brahma Baba, through just his being what he had become, one could always feel the spiritual fragrance in the atmosphere. As I came closer to him, observing him, I too experienced my own unique spirituality. I watched him, mesmerized by his manner, and I was enveloped into a spiritual vacuum, awakening my own realms of divinity, enjoying a very tender part of myself. Seeing his royalty in movement moved me into a place of tasting my own royalty that had been tucked away so neatly and forgotten. I was so captivated with his delicate, subtle way he expressed himself through matter as he took me into my own sublime feelings of my own forgotten nature. So ordinary he was, and yet so extraordinary. In the beginning, there was such a small group of souls before him, and yet his vision extended beyond that group, beyond his part of the world. He had deep faith that the world would change. As we saw his own transformation, it became clearer to us that we too could change. There was a time when the cupboards were bare. Those serving were directed to serve everyone dal and roti, that is, soup and bread, just once. 3 old mothers came back for seconds of the dal. Brahma took his plate of dal and told someone to divide it amongst the mothers. He said the mothers didn't have teeth to chew. We watched Brahma Baba as he sat so silently eating his roti. He showed us how to live in humility, with love, compassion. He taught us how to eat holding the remembrance of God in our souls. We too learn to perform actions whilst remembering God, side by side with Brahma. He was such a tower of light. He spoke out in the name of truth. There was a time when the priests had become a symbol of distorted values, empty, pompous rituals with an emphasis on rituals rather than moral and spiritual development, indulging in mindless actions, mindless rituals under the umbrella of religion, taking heaps of edibles, hundreds and thousands of bags of wheat, tins of butter and milk to feed the so-called sacred flames, while millions lived in semi-starved and semi-naked conditions. Brahma Baba spoke out against these senseless rituals, professing that health and wealth can be gotten from the practice of meditation, awakening that divine silent light within and ridding oneself of the vices. He believed that every soul had a memory of God as the father of the soul, and the self as the child. He taught us how to activate this memory, how to experience that oneness with God. In his everyday routine of life, he was able to bring remembrance of God in every action. Reflection, contemplation, remembrance, study. I so loved watching Brahma Baba study. It seemed to make me want to do the same. He never tired of the study. Wherever I looked, he was studying. Remembering God. His effort seemed endless, and yet easy. Anyone that came close could feel his divinity as it permeated the atmosphere. And we just loved being in his company. Brahma Baba spoke, we listened. Not with the ears, but with the soul. From deep within the soul, we listened. swallowing every word, listening with the heart of the soul. A legacy of a man dedicated to God, dedicated to world transformation, dedicated to humanity. They say his memorial is this, a marble structure created from love. But I say his memorial is this, those that were inspired and are inspired by his example, and have dedicated their lives to transform the world through self-transformation by connecting with the Father of the soul.
Oh, my beloved, kindness of the heart, breath of life, I bow to you, and I'm coming home, and I'm coming home, and I'm coming home, and I'm coming home. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Shiv Bhagwan speaks to the saligrams. The spiritual father explains to the spiritual children. You children now understand that when you sit here, you have to sit in the awareness that you are a soul, not the body, in the whole world. And how big is the world? There isn't a single human being who understands the soul, what the soul is. If they don't understand the soul, how will they understand the Supreme Soul? So, the realization of the soul only happens through the Father. That is the understanding of what is this thing called soul. Human beings don't know this. This is why people are unhappy, you see. So Baba comes and makes them into idols. The deities are called idols. You children have now come to know about the drama of 5,000 years, or the lifespan of the world. There is the lifespan of the kalpa tree. You children understand in your intellect that definitely if the seed of a mango tree was living, it would explain that I am the seed and this is how a tree emerges from me. But that is non-living. There is only one living tree of the variety of human beings. Only you children. Everyone remembers number-wise according to the effort from the beginning, from the top until now, until here.
Om Shanti. Today we are celebrating the day of peace, the day of remembrance of Brahma Baba, the founder father of Brahma Kumaris. I was very fortunate that I was able to meet him, and it's almost about 11 years. I visited, I met, spent some time with him, and I consider it to be my great fortune because he was living example for our day-to-day life, day-to-day activities, and spiritual journey. Because when there is introduction of God, then we have to remember him. But also receiving knowledge, spiritual knowledge, helps us to begin our spiritual journey. And our spiritual journey is to become complete of all spiritual powers and also all virtues, and implement, become embodiment of knowledge. So it's a journey. Like physical journey, a child becomes adult and then aging begins and then transition happen. We continue in this kind of cycle. A spiritual journey with our own physical journey, I think it's a great blessing. So Brahma Baba was the medium of God, one who is world benefactor, ever pure, purifier, ocean of love, ocean of peace, ocean of knowledge. Use the medium of Brahma Baba to give us knowledge and to guide us. So he lived a life which was very successful. And then when he got this message, he decided that he has done enough of everything. Was 60-year-old, had a business, diamond merchant, very successful. But when he got this message, then he decided to live this life, and he had lot of resources, many buildings and lot of properties and wealth. He decided to use those buildings to start boarding and, for children, for mothers, for parents, where they receive spiritual knowledge. And also Baba, we call him Brahma Baba. Baba totally surrendered his life for God's service, and then established a small trust where he surrendered everything so that that trust can take care. It was very much beyond I and mine. So I feel that it was really like life of blessings. It is only with God's grace and blessings that one can have this self-realization where you come to know your original self of divinity, a divine being. And at present, there is loss of that divinity, and I have to reclaim it, becoming divine from human, a human divine being, which our all worship worthy, whether deities or angels are. So Brahma Baba gave us a lot of blessings. He lived the life of blessings. And we all also keep reminding ourselves the blessings which we receive. Every morning in our teachings, Baba shares knowledge, and in the end, we receive blessing also. We think about those blessings, we want to live by those blessings. So I would ask every one of you, receive this knowledge, practice Raj Yoga, and live a life of blessings where there is constant ascending. You become a charitable soul and claim all the treasures of different powers and virtues from God. But we look at Brahma Baba as our example, whom we can follow step by step and make our lives divine. So on this day, I also want to extend not only my good wishes for your spiritual and physical journey, but also understanding of how, as a soul, I am immortal, imperishable, a point of light, a peaceful soul. When I just practice this, become embodiment, life becomes very valuable and very full and complete. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Welcome. My name is Michelle, and I have the privilege each week to share with my sister Louise to MC. She's back there. And tonight it is, I was thinking of a song that I love. Tonight's going to be a good night. And I look out at you and I go, tonight's going to, you know that song? You must know that song. Tonight's going to be a good night. Well, Zoomers, hi Zoomers. We have guests who are online with us. Welcome. And it's a special night because we are going to be celebrating the legacy of Brahma Baba. And I've been a student. I can't believe it. I started out as an infant, baby, toddler. Now I'm 9 years. Almost ready for junior high school. I've been a student here for 9 years with the Brahma Kumaris Spiritual University. How many of you first times here? Is anyone new? Kind of recognize most of you. So anyone new? Oh, welcome, welcome. Zoomers, anyone there? Well, you're always welcome. So you've been here before to Harmony House. So Brahma Kumaris is a worldwide spiritual movement, as mentioned, founded in 1936. And Likraj Krimalani, who we know as Brahma Baba, is the founding father, is, I think of it in the present tense, of the Brahma Kumaris. And as evidenced with the video, he lived a life of purity, simplicity, and selfless service. And his teachings of Raja Yoga meditation continues with the instruments and teachers all over. There are centers. It's a global network of centers in over 100 countries, the Spiritual University, serving as an international NGO, non-governmental organization, and participating in many UN initiatives. And we have an office actually in the UN. The key is of Raja Yoga meditation is, you've heard the term soul consciousness, and you're shaking your head, right? Shake your head, everybody. Have you heard that term, soul consciousness? Seeing oneself as a soul beyond labels. You hear all the time, labeling people of race and religion. But what's interesting is the discussion about the formation, if you will, of the Brahma Kumaris in 1936. It seemed focused on the time then. But look now, so many years later, how relevant it is today, the teachings. So it was geared for then, but really it's not. It's geared for now. When we listen to the teachings every morning, how relevant it is to what we are living through now. So Brahma Baba left a legacy, and that legacy is to uplift lives across generations and across the world. And his journey, his life, was his living message. We hear about, let my life be my message, as Gandhi said. Well, that is certainly the case with Brahma Baba, that he reminds us that if we live with purity, purpose, and faith in what? One soul, the supreme soul, and that our thoughts and actions likewise would leave a lasting imprint on the sands of time. And that's what we're going to talk about. We, not me, you're lucky. Let me make. We have three wonderful instruments, if you will, who are going to be helping us on our journey. And just to let you know, this is every Thursday night. We are here with wonderful conversations to help you on that journey. If you're here, you're a seeker, you're on your spiritual path, come back next Thursday and the Thursday after. So I'm going to call up our panelists. And we invite Reverend Dr. James Herndon, who has been serving as a licensed chaplain in the state of New York since the 1990s. He currently serves as a senior minister in a growing Christian church in Kinderhook, New York. We got to discuss and meet a little bit before. You're in for a treat. After 9/11, the Reverend served as a U.S. Air Force chaplain for the U.S. Department of Defense, instructing in ethics. How timely is that now? That's all we hear about now in terms of the military, that need to discuss ethics and what is right and what we should follow. It is a very timely discussion. Hope you have access to them now. Also at the U.S. Air Force Academy, and he served in the Pacific Command as a special operations chaplain. Thank you for your service. The Reverend discovered Brahma Kumaris in India while serving as an academic scholar for over 10 years in residence as an international research fellow in Pune, Maharashtra. And when I read about him, but I got to meet you, he embodies everything you'd want in a clergyman. And in his own words, that immediate availability, humble trainability, and I'm going to ask you about that later. Humble trainability. I love that. I think I aspire to that. And a long-term commitment, because that's what it's about. It's a discipline and a commitment. And I thank you for those beautiful words. So you may come up. And now, next up, batter up, is Sister Gayatri. And if you've been here before, you've had the delight of hearing Sister Gayatri, who's always on point. She is a spiritual educator, writer, and speaker, practicing Raja Yoga for 50 years. Amazing. Since 1980, she has been the Brahma Kumaris representative to the UN in New York. Also very timely. Don't you agree? That's all we hear about now. As BK representatives to the UN, her role has been to identify areas of UN policies with practical relevance to individual lives. How do you apply that spirituality to our everyday lives? To explore and develop value-based spiritual dimensions of these areas and create the programs and publications that the UN uses. I've had the opportunity to see you in action at the UN. It's quite remarkable. Can change the world. So, and also, Sister Gayatri was pivotal in developing the Living Values Education Program and worked closely with UNICEF and UNESCO on its implementation. And she had her own words as well, that her 50 years, her zeal and enthusiasm, and you see it when you speak to her, she has that zeal and enthusiasm, but it emerges out of study and her practice of Raja Yoga. And she keeps it in her place. And I love this, a curious place. And yes, you are curious. Yes, you are. A place of profound realization of the importance and auspiciousness of time. Fabulous. I didn't know that. That's beautiful. And you may come up too. And our wonderful moderator, and if you've been here a few times, you have to see our running around Sister Tina, who runs and does everything with Sister Anthony. And hello, brother Eric and Ryan, who are able-bodied AV squad up there. You don't see them, they're on high. But Sister Tina, our moderator tonight, is both things a PhD in plant science. How wonderful is that? So she's a research scientist working for many years in an academic setting. I think it's wonderful. She has been practicing, she's a newbie, 25 years of practicing Raja Yoga meditation. She's a teacher. She's an instrument at this very setting at Global Harmony House, and she loves to rediscover, and I've watched her. I've known you for a few years now, discovering and rediscovering her inner strengths and applying those spiritual concepts to her practical life. And yes, she stays in dignity and peace in all she does, and I've had the privilege to see it in action. So you are in for a big treat. So with that, I turn it over to Sister Tina, our moderator. Welcome, everyone.
Everyone. Om Shanti. Warm welcome. It's so nice, Michelle. I feel the moderator sits in the middle. It looks odd. Would you like to sit here? No? I didn't know I had to sit in the middle. Okay. So, just to bring us back into the stillness and to ground us into this space, I would invite our Reverend Brother Jim to take us into silence by coming into sound.
Still and know that He is God. Be still and know that He is holy. Be still, O restless heart of mine, bow before the Prince of Peace. Let the noise of clamor cease. Be still and know that He is God. Be still and know that He is faithful. Consider all that He has done. Stand in awe and be amazed, and know that He will change. Be still, be still, be still, and know that He is God. Be still, and know that He is God. Be very still, and know that He is God. Be still, be speechless. Be still and know that He is God. Be still and know He is our Father. Come rest your head upon His chest and listen to the rhythm of His unfailing heart. Behold, the one calling angels to come. Be still. Be still. Shanti.
Okay. So, I feel it's such a blessing. I was listening to Sister Moini, and it does feel that it is a blessing already that we are experiencing this evening together, where we will see some interesting conversation. And I was just thinking, when this word of legacy of the Father comes, or when we look at that word, when you think of Father's legacy, what is the feeling that arises in you, or what is the blessing that you're reminded of, that would make you feel that this blessing or this legacy is even sustaining me today, or it is taking me forward, or has shaped me as to who I am today? So I'm wondering if you would like to start with opening remarks, Sister Gayatri, and then, of course, um, Reverend Jim.
Well, for me, a legacy is something that molds and shapes generations. And it is something that is not theoretical. but it's something that's practical. It's the way someone lived their lives. It's the character. They walked that road to character and they developed. And the lessons that they learned and left as lessons for others to learn from. So when the word legacy comes to me, when I look at that word or I experience that word, I don't think very many people leave legacies that's all inclusive of the whole world. They leave legacies for their families, they leave legacies for their communities, and they leave legacies for their countries, I suppose. But to have an all-inclusive legacy, we know a few people. We know Gandhi did that. We know someone like Mother Teresa did it. We know someone like Nelson Mandela did it. But you would know who those people are, and they keep being repeated. But with Brahma Baba, I felt his legacy was something different. It was a legacy from the inside out. And if you were to ask me what is the legacy he left through which there were imprints on the sands of time as blessings, I would say 3 words for me: the legacy of identity, the legacy of dignity, and the legacy of divinity.
Beautiful. I have a follow-up question, but I'll come back to it. I will ask you, Reverend Jim, what is, for you, we talk about uplifting lives, and we talk about that Brahma Baba left a legacy that has uplifted lives over generations across time and all of that. So looking back across all these years, what are the blessings from Baba that you now recognize are having, an impact on your life that is shaping who you are today?
Thank you, my dear sister. And good evening, my dear sister. Good evening, friends. Upliftment in the Christian tradition is called ascension. You didn't give us these questions ahead of time. Very naughty sister. It would have been so much easier, but I'm ready on the fly. So many masters throughout the ages are known to have ascended. The Prophet Muhammad, for example, peace be upon him. The Lord Jesus Christ, shortly after his resurrection from the grave, was thought to have ascended. But far more than physical levitation, Buddha was thought to have been able to levitate. So high was his energy in meditation. But aside from defying gravity, ascension means mastery. Ascension means self-sovereignty, self-mastery, not mastery over others. One of the greatest and most terrible words in the whole world is jihad. It strikes fear and it inspires heroism. The good heroism of jihad is the self-conquest, conquest of the ego. To me, and in my tradition as a Christian, this is the upliftment. This is the ascension. We look at a Mahatma like Jesus, for example, or Gandhi, or Muhammad, peace be upon him. We see great souls who are ascended masters. They're masters of discipline, and they're ascended beyond the low attachments of dust and worldly attractions. That's what I want to be. I worked in the Air Force, and when you're up at certain altitude, the metal has to be very pure or it will falter. If you've ever seen them preparing the space rockets and things that go into outer space, there can be no impurities in the metal or it will fail. It's the same with us, whether we just want to levitate off the ground or become full masters and sovereigns. Impurities are removed.
Very beautiful. Actually, also, Reverend, I was talking to you earlier and I realized that this whole access to the Brahma Kumaris world and getting to meet Baba, this whole journey started back in Pune, which is in Maharashtra in India. And
Your neighborhood.
in not my neighborhood, that's the birthplace where I took birth. And so I felt such a sweet connection there. And I'm interested, to know how you actually met Baba at that time. And I'm wondering what impression did this meeting with Baba left on you that you're still continuing it today?
The first thing you should know is I also am a Baba. No, madam, don't laugh. I have proof. I would go to my research guide at the University of Pune and I would give chapter 4 for the doctorate. And she would say, oh, good, finally, you're only 3 weeks late this time. And she would begin reading and she would go by about the second page. She would put her hand in a very holy position and she would say, Are Baba. It means I'm a Baba, right? It means I'm a Baba. And this is my holy sign. So if you ever see me in the hallways or at Mount Abu, just let me give the Are symbol. It means you know I'm a Baba. But there are so many Babas in India. And all of my students would introduce me. They said, come and meet Goenka ji. Anyone know Goenka? Of Burma, the Vipassana tradition. What a lovely inheritance. One of my students introduced me. Another student from the last row said, come and meet Krishna. I said, I'm so attracted. How could I not? As a Christian minister, I would go and dance and sing and chant in holy devotion to Lord Krishna. But there was another student, Raju. He said, please, he was very humble and very, I thought, boring compared to, very plainly dressed and wouldn't eat all the fun stuff and wouldn't drink with the other students, but very good student. He said, come meet my Baba. I said, equal opportunity. I meet everyone's Baba. I said, I will come. I said, where was he born? What kind of motorcycle does he have? Does he have a young teenage German girlfriend? Because I've seen many Babas like this with the long hair and, the matted. He said, no, 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 my Baba is nothing like this. You just come and see. And I did, and I tasted of our sweet culture, and I saw the angels all around, all in white, and it was a reminder of my true nature, of my nobility. You see, there was a difference between the Brahma Kumaris and the professors in Pune. The professors walked with arrogance and attitude and haughtiness. The Brahma Kumaris tread with dignity of a different kind. That's what sold me. And when I looked into our teachings, oh, it was icing on the cake. So much truth could be found amid the various traditions, even amid the various Babas, but there's only one Baba, and his teachings are sublime.
So it's the teachings that left that imprint on you.
It's the Murli,
I will come back to that question.
the Murli are everything.
I have a specific question for that one. So, but before that, Sister Gayatri, I know that you have been touched by Baba in a very, very, very unique way. And so when you talked about legacy of identity, I feel even before you found Baba or Baba found you, you were the Gayatri, right? I don't know how many of you know, but her dad was the prime minister of the country or president, vice president of the country, and very renowned family and very, very philanthropist kind of a family, loved by the community and people of Guyana. And I don't know how you are saying, or maybe you might want to explain a little bit, what do you mean by legacy of identity? But also, I am intrigued to know that 50 years you have been with the Brahma Kumaris, not a short time. 50 years you have lived a life of dedication and have served in the service of humanity. So what did Baba do? What did Baba say to you that inspired you to dedicate your life in such an interesting way?
Well, I think what I don't know if he did it or he just inspired it in me. But when I say identity, I mean it as a blessing. And for me, one of the questions growing up in a multiracial country, a country where there were 6 races and colonialized, of course, and about 10 years from the time I was born to becoming independent, I kind of observed that what was happening. And I wasn't too young to know that divide and rule happens at the level of race or religion. And so I also saw that happening. And so one of the first things that happened when this knowledge was introduced to me was this concept that everyone is a soul. And when I heard that, and I experienced myself as a being of light, I said, wow, that is our true identity. And for me, it was a blessing to realize that we can transcend everything that divides us and we could meet at a certain point of commonality, of equality, of brother and sisterhood. And that blessing never left me. It never left me because it instantly changed the way I was looking at others. And when I did that, I realized that there was a deeper blessing that emerged out of me, because I don't think blessings are connected to desires. I don't think blessings are connected to unfulfilled things that I'm in pursuit of. But I think blessings are what emerges out of this identity of being light. And it's true. And if it's true for me, it is true for everyone else because we share a common identity. And what emerged out of me that I feel was a tremendous blessing was a very deep, compassionate kindness for my fellow human beings. And I think in today's world, to have that deep, compassionate kindness for my fellow human beings, it cannot come about with just me deciding this is what I want to do. It has to come from a higher inspiration. It has to come from Baba, from God, but it has to come not just, this is something I'd like to do, but it has to come from, this is something I must do because it is the right thing to do, because it is something that brings beauty to life, and it's the beauty of belonging. So that is what I felt that happened to me. And blessings are sustainable. You are not blessed today and cursed tomorrow. You are blessed today and it lasts forever. From here to eternity is about blessings.
So beautiful. I can go on listening. So, but I want to follow up on the thing that you were just touching upon is the Murli. And I know, Reverend Jim, that when I was talking to you earlier also, I realized that you have a very special place for the daily godly versions that we listen, which is a very specific to practice to the Brahma Kumaris, and we call it Murli. So I had this lingering thought, and I thought I will ask you here actually that how did your relationship with the Murli evolved over time? Because I know when individuals come here, they love the knowledge, they love the understanding of soul consciousness. They love Baba also, because he's our father at the end of the day. However, when it comes to the versions of God, then it is little bit, not taken in the right stride. So I wonder, how have you evolved your relationship with these versions and why they hold so much significance in your life today?
Wow, that's a very deep question. We need at least 3 hours just to hit the 3 or 4 points in the question. I was privileged enough to have studied Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, President of India. He was a professor of philosophy. He was ambassador. And he introduced me to something called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is the eternal truths, you know, relative truths or parochial truths, local truths may come and go with time and place. But the Sanatana Dharma is what is metta. The word metta means, yeah, I mean, we have ethics and then we have meta ethics. That was always the juicy part for me. I wanted to know the big picture. Um, when you play chess, there's three uh, points of view you can take. You can stand as a queen behind a horse, and all you see is the back of the horse if you're looking at it straight like this. Or you could sit like a normal chess player on your side, the winning side, against the enemy side. You're looking at it from your side, from a 45-degree angle, much better angle, but still you're only on your side. The best side is the God's eye point of view, which if you've ever watched chess on television, which is horrible to watch, it's not at the horse eye view or the queen eye view, and it's not even at the enemy eye view or opponent eye view. It's at the God's eye view. You can see the whole board. There's no sides. There's no black, no white. And I think that's how God sees things. So when I, as a dedicated, devoted, committed Christian minister, discovered through Raju, one of my graduate students at Pune, the true Baba, it was instant recognition. There's a word in Sanskrit called pratyabhijna. It's a mouthful just to remember for your test when I was back in the school. But it means remembrance. It's the Sanskrit word, which is what we celebrate in Raja Yoga. It means self-recognition, to not only remember Baba, but to remember who we are in Baba. I tell my congregation about Jesus, I said, he is the chief cornerstone. We're just chip off the old block. And it's the same with Baba. What a great soul. What great love. I'm a part of that soul. And, even as I tell my Christian congregations, I said, it's wonderful to come to the Holy Lord as a sheep to a shepherd, but don't get stuck at that level. For crying out loud, you're a sister, you're a brother to God. They talk in India of cradling Lord Krishna. Picturing yourself in every relationship, even the cow herders of that beautiful land. It was a romance with the beloved, but an innocent one, a joyful one, pure one. Incredible how that could have been. But don't stop there. We call it the bride of Christ. I'm the bride of Christ. To me, the most interesting thing about marriage, although I wouldn't know, involves not only the physicality, but being able to read one another's minds. If you've ever had that with another human being, you're lucky. If you've had it with Baba, you're super lucky.
Mm.
But that intimacy of not only marriage with God, not in the physical ugly look, but in the mind, having the mind of Christ, knowing the mind of Baba. And then I tell my congregation, go higher. He wants us as co-heirs, co-workers, fellow workers. He's our elder brother, but he doesn't consign us to the low echelons. We go shoulder to shoulder forward. judging, reigning, and ruling with dominion, godly dominion of love, light, life, and law. These 4 L's have taken on a special significance for me, Gayatri Madam. Light of a bindu, life of a bija seed, love, which is that sound, that nada, and the basis of law, which is the order of the universe. It's the sanity. It's what holds it all together. So I look for the bigger view in all ways. I'm sorry, that's a long answer.
No, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And I feel you really have understood God's versions. And that's how you described the Murli in a way. And I know, Sister Gayatri, I have seen you now for many years. I know you. And I feel that the relationship of love that you have for Baba is so evident through the way you read Murli to us, when you do that. And you're very, very authentic to Baba's words, to Baba's versions. And I wonder, how do you maintain that authenticity? Because in the world where there is so much happening, it is very easy to, go on a sidetrack and say, oh, this one is saying this, or little bit you polish it and you give it in a different way, or you add a little bit of spice and then you give it in a different way, trying to, not talk about the nij gyan, the original knowledge that we talk about. But when we listen to you speaking, reading the Murli to us, we hear that you maintain that authenticity. So how do you maintain that? And what is your relationship with Murli?
Well, to ask me a question like, what is your relationship with the Murli? I would say you're asking me what's my relationship with truth. And my relationship with truth is the highest premium, I think. And so before I even talk about my relationship with the Murli, with Baba's direct words, I was very fascinated when I first came to the Brahma Kumaris, and I was told that God gives you 2 gifts. They're called grace gifts. One is the gift of the third eye, and it completely turns around. There's a major deep shift in your identity when that third eye opens. But the other gift that is given by God is divine insight. And when I asked what was divine insight, they said an intellect that has love for the truth. That there's a heart in the intellect. There's a preet in the buddhi. There's love in the intellect. And when you look at teachings with that eye that sees through an intellect with divine insight coming from a love for truth, the entire world opens for you. And that's how I listen to Baba's Murli. But there are 3 pillars, I think, that grace gifts are blessings. You don't ask for them, you receive them. But it's how you use them after that is very important. So for me, when I listen to Baba's Murli, or I read Baba's Murli, or I study the teachings, it's grounded in 3 areas of soul consciousness. And these 3 areas of soul consciousness is connected to the state of our world. And so whatever I'm understanding as an individual, it has bearings on the state of the world. And so the intellect isn't just interpreting it in terms of this is the transformation that needs to occur in a habit that I have or a behavior that I have. But simultaneously is that if I change this behavior or I change this habit, it will have an impact on the world. And so consequently, when I change my perception of the world that I live in. And so these three fundamentals for me is the way that God, in God's incorporeal form, has been remembered. There are three primal, there are three fundamental qualities of this Supreme Being. One is truth. The other is benevolence. And the third is beauty. And so these words create these experiences in me. So each sentence I read, as simple as the golden rule of the Brahma Kumaris is, consider yourself to be a soul and remember one. And when you do that, you will do unto others as you would have others do unto you. So where I always say, okay, that is something that is the power of our practice. That is our practice. Where's the truth in this? How does it bring benefit to this world? And thirdly, how does it bond us back into that beauty of belonging? And so that's how the Murli is. If I divert from the origin of the words, I lose the meaning. Because within every set of teachings, there's a method of understanding it, and there is a process to be followed. And if I divert and impose something of the secular world onto the spiritual framework, then I've lost the meaning. And so this is what's called divine insight, in which you surrender the intellect with love to the truth and let the truth reveal itself to you. You cannot prove the truth. You can experience it.
I'm sure all of you are absorbing it. She's speaking. And I think we should have a part 2 of this conversation because I have so many more questions, but I don't have time. But I loved what you said, that the blessings are received. So my perhaps final question, and then you can add your closing remarks. What does it mean to leave a legacy that is imperishable beyond time and circumstances? And do you feel that all of us could receive the blessings from the Father, just like you have received them?
Yes, I think all of us will receive it or have already received it, because we all want to make a difference to our world. You see, if we didn't have a world, I don't think we would want to make a difference. But we live in a world that is invoking, you see, the word for world is dunya. The word for blessing is dua. And so why do I invoke blessings from God? It's because I know the state of my world is not the state that I would like it to be. And so, but what happens is that in this changing world, we heard about the ascension, but there's also descension, in which there is a descending factor that's happening. We are in a descending stage, it seems. Systems are breaking down, relationships are they're on trial and error, you would call it. It's no longer bonding. But the invocation, and this is where the divine insight comes in. This is where we all receive. There isn't anyone in this world who hasn't at some point of time in the gravest moments of their life reached out with an invocation to God. The moment that happens, you receive. The receiving is subtle. The receiving is invisible. So rather than develop that which is invisible, like my potential, to become divine, so that it could emerge from me a world that is corresponding to what is being emerged within me, whether it's love, whether it's peace, whether it's joy, whatever those original qualities that I'm created in the image and likeness of God with, it's inalienable. It's inherent, these virtues are. It is eternal. It's God-given. And we all have it. And there are moments when we would invoke it. The moment it's invoked, I receive it. But then I compare it to the visible world. And I block the further emergence of it because it's quite invisible. Love is invisible, isn't it? The expression of it, I look for to say, yes, it exists because of this expression. But the expression isn't the love. The love is invisible. It's living inside of me. And so I would say to you, if you really want to feel blessed in your moments of invocation, commit to the growth of it. Commit to let it flow in a natural way out of you. But you're reaffirming the faith in what is inside of you. Because that's what our world wants from us. It doesn't want the manifestation of something that is totally broken, but it wants the real thing. And I'll end with a song. You know that song from the New Seekers that became the Coca-Cola ad many years ago? I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. And I think if we keep that image, I'd like to build my world a home and furnish it with love. Where will I look for that love? And the more I look for that love, it's the more my world will be furnished with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Gayatri. Just one last question, perhaps. How does remembrance of God helps you to sow the seeds of karma or of actions that will bear the fruit across time, and you feel that the legacy is becoming imperishable in a way? Or anything you want to share, that is fine too.
So 20 years since I found Baba, I had no remembrance in that 20-year period. I became a part of the Department of Defense. I didn't have time for the morning Murlis. I mean, I wasn't ingrained in me. So although I went to Mount Abu 20 years ago, 20 years of water have passed under the bridge. And now I'm reawakening. I found a chiropractor up in Saratoga, and she had the necklace. And I said, "Oh, you're that." She said, "Brahma Kumaris." I said, "Oh my goodness, I did that 20 years ago." And she said, "Well, what's stopping you from doing it now?" I said, "I don't know, I just forgot." So this word remembrance is an important word. You know, in the Jewish tradition, and even in my own tradition, they say, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. It's part of the Ten Commandments. everyone celebrates, it seems. It's universal principles. That word remember, or the word legacy, it's an inheritance. You know, when I sat in meditation with the Vipassana group, I learned how to be disciplined. When I studied yoga with BKS Iyengar in Pune, I learned proper asana. But when I sat with Baba, I learned the reason for it all. When I sit in Raja Yoga, I not only sit up because my instructor is telling me to, or it's the proper position, I sit up because there's a prince inside me that's trying to manifest. And I've known it for some time. You know, you put a man in a uniform, military uniform, he sits up a little taller. You give him the cycle of the 4 stages, he will also sit up straighter because he sees the dignity coming around the bend. There's dignity ahead. There's heaven ahead. What a pull, what a great remembrance is ours. For 30 years, I meditated with the Vipassana tradition. I could meditate 10 hours a day, in perfect stillness. And I could only eat 4 hours a day and sleep 3 hours a day toward the more advanced stages. I went for a whole month like this. You start going mad if you meditate too much. But the madness wasn't from too much meditation. The madness was truly from not knowing what the focus is. The focus is remember Baba. Focus is remember who I am. It makes so much sense to me. I'm so glad to be home.
Thank you so much, Reverend Jim, and thank you, Sister Gayatri. I feel truth is imperishable and God is truth, and any blessing that comes from Him becomes imperishable. And so I loved this whole theme of invocation. And so I would invite you to invoke Him so that we all can receive those blessings in our own natural rights. Thank you. We request Brother Eric to play soft music.
So I'll invite you all to go with me on a pilgrimage of remembrance. And we're the pilgrims on this pilgrimage. So sit, relax your body. I, the soul, I sit on my seat in the center. Brothers and sisters of the human family. And to see the Supreme Parent of humanity. With an identity having the same image, the eternal conscience. Peace. Joy. Truth. World is in darkness because we have forgotten this. Now, one by one, we're beginning to see with new eyes our true identity. I've been blessed with the dignity of my true worth. Yet I am born free and equal, and I am endowed with reason and conscience. These are my tools that give me worth. When I connect to God and I am still, power of God's strength and support reaffirms in me faith in my worth. I'm blessed when I believe. I believe the invisible and I make the invisible visible. Let me, in this quiet and sacred space, in the remembrance of one, be still.
Dear friends, Shanti, what a sweet time it is to bathe in peace at a time when our world is falling apart. I can't help but be unsettled when I turn on the news. It wasn't always like this extreme. Things are moving very quickly. 2,000 years ago, there was a Mahatma who had many fishermen friends. They were terrified as the storms would arise, and he simply spoke the words, peace, be still. And these words echo true today. The water's fine, just enough breeze to keep me sailing. I feel safe, warm, slow, sudden, angry winds threaten me. Then the master speaks with sure authority. Says, peace, be still. Peace, be still. Still to the wind and wave. Said, peace, be still. Peace, be still. Peace. And the ocean obeyed. There is an ocean inside my heart. Mostly the water is calm, just enough breeze to keep me sailing. I feel safe and warm, but every wind blows suddenly. How this world could threaten me. Then I hear his quiet voice. He says to me, he says, peace, be still. Peace, be still. Peace, be still to the wind and the wave. Says, peace, be still. Peace, be still. Peace, still, and the ocean obey. Still, every wind blows suddenly. How this world threatens. Then I hear Baba's voice, so quiet, says to me, peace, be still. Peace, be still. Peace, be still to the wind and the wave. Be still. Peace, be still. Still, the ocean obeys.
Thank you for a magnificent, that's the word that popped in my head, conversation. It was profound, yet accessible, and more important, it was so nourishing, right? Don't you feel like you had a good spiritual meal? I did.
And a little bit fun.
And fun. Yes, fun. Fun is good. Fun is good. I have a percentage of fun in my, we'll talk about that too.
That's the New York brand.
That's the New York
fun.
brand. Have at least 20% of your day has to have some fun in it. Otherwise, so that's the percentage. Hopefully it's more than that. But I'm gonna make an ask. I hope you do this again. Right? Right. Hope I'll be come back on your motorcycle. Come back.
Yes, of course.
With Sister Gayatri and Sister Tina. And thank you. Let's not forget our AV people, Dave, Eric, and Ryan. And thank you, Brahma Baba. And let us remember Baba. That's what it's about. Next week, we're back. And it's entitled, and it's a great title. Every day is a new day. So hopefully you'll be back for that with Sister Anjani. And please stay for your blessing and Tola. We're doing it front. And thank you again. It was great. See Louise next week. And thank you. Beautiful.
This world with simple steps, yet carried heaven in your heart. In quiet faith and steady love, you showed us where the journey starts.
You didn't speak of greatness loud. You lived each truth calm and clear by following Srimad faithfully.
You showed us how to live in obedience, purity, surrender to.
Thank you, Brahma Baba, for a life so rich and true. You lived the love you spoke of and helped us walk Baba's way too. Through you, Baba's light reached hearts, strong and gentle, far and near. Today we smile in gratitude for the legacy you left so clear.
You showed us how to stay humble, even when the world would praise. How to stay light in every scene and walk on Baba's chosen ways.
You taught us not by telling us, but by living what we seek. A soul deep in remembrance, gentle, powerful and meek. Thank you, Brahma Baba, for a life so rich and true. You lived the love you spoke of and helped us walk Baba's way too. Through you, Baba's light reached hearts, strong and gentle, far and near. Today we smile in gratitude for the legacy you left so clear.
You belong to Baba fully, every breath, every thought. And by watching how you lived, we learned the lessons you taught.
Not perfection, but sincerity. Not control, but trust and care. A life lived in soul awareness with quiet strength beyond compare.
Thank you, Brahma Baba, for saying yes to truth and light by walking every step in Sri
still shines before us, a flame that will not fade. Today we celebrate with joy and thanks the sacred path of love you lay. With gratitude, with love, we remember